if you want to go somewhere other than a major city, you'll probably end up changing planes somewhere along the line. But there is another way to travel. If you're a businessman and you're in a big hurry, you can always charter a small jet and take off anytime you want to. One of the most active places for that kind of flying is Palwaukee Airport, about 25 miles northwest of the Loop. We went up there to find out more about business jets, and we discovered a family that has been active in flying for 3 generations. We start with a conversation between grandfather and grandson.
Is that you?
Yeah, looks kind of funny, doesn't it? You know, years ago, that's the way they used to dress when they'd go flying. It isn't like today when you get in there and you're all closed in. You're out there with the breeze blowing your face, and the rain and snow and all that sort of thing.
What kind of airplane is that?
That's an American Eagle, GJ. That's one of the airplanes that I flew. It's kind of an old rickety airplane, but it did fly. That's a Stinson. In fact, your dad used to fly that. I think your dad flew that very airplane there at one time.
Is that you and Mama?
Yeah, that's when we got married. We had an airplane. We went away for 10 days, and we flew all over. And it just took us an awful long time to get out there. In those days, that was in 1934. That's quite a while ago.
Who's that?
That's your dad. Yeah, that's Charlie. That's Charlie when he was, a little bit younger than you are now, GJ.
What kind of airplane is that?
That's an amphibian, George. That lands on either the land or on the water. And that was a pretty good airplane, but there's a big difference nowadays than there was 25, 30 years ago.
So long ago that this airport was 40 acres of knee-high grass. The runways were gravel and sand, and the planes that were kept here were pretty funny looking by today's standards. Now Palwaukee Airport, located at the intersection of Milwaukee Avenue and Palatine Road near Wheeling, is the busiest private airport in the world. Among the hundreds of small planes kept here are a growing number of business jets like the sleek, fast LearJet. For executives with many flights to make in only a few days, this type of transportation is ideal. A LearJet can take you to small cities where the big airlines aren't often scheduled to go.
Good morning, Mr. Priester. Hi, GJ. Hi.
George Priester saw the future in aviation many years ago when he bought this airfield. At that time, he knew that someday flying would become very important for business and for pleasure.
Okay, and departure time?
Now he and his son Charlie own and operate Palwaukee Airport and fly small business jets back and forth across the United States. G.J. Priester wants to be a pilot someday like his grandfather and his dad. He's 7 years old, and if he succeeds in becoming a pilot, who knows what kind of flying machines he'll learn to operate by the time he reaches his grandfather's age.
All set, G.J.?
In the meantime, he's starting at the top, learning to fly a jet airplane. Compared to propeller-driven aircraft, jets are quite different. Because they fly higher and faster, advanced levels of skill and education are required to obtain a rating as a jet pilot. To start with, you must be at least 23 years of age, have 1,500 hours of flying time, 100 hours of night flying, 75 hours of flying by instruments. Then you must be physically fit, and you need special education like mathematics, meteorology, aerodynamics, and jet systems in order to pass a written test. If you fulfill these requirements, you get an airline transport rating, and then you have to do a lot of flying in jets with an instructor to finally become jet rated.
Get that. Okay.
Pilots have to keep up their proficiency and technical skill, so whenever possible, they get the plane up in the air and practice. For grown-up experts and for beginners alike, Flying up there is the only real way to learn. Charlie Priester, his dad, and now his son G.J. have more flying experience than most families, and they know that a little care and common sense goes a long way toward making aviation fun and safe.
Okay, go to the rear one. Go to the one behind you there.
Filing a flight plan, updating weather reports, checking the engines, and draining the sumps are only part of the careful pre-flight preparation. The fuel they use is highly refined kerosene, and they measure it in pounds and gallons. Even a small jet like this one may use as much as 1,200 pounds of fuel per hour of flight. But then it will probably be going nearly 600 miles an hour. The reason why they go so fast is because a jet engine works by building up pressure inside itself. Then the hot gases burned by the engine create a jet of exhaust. And it's the reaction to the exhaust that drives the engine and whatever is attached to it forward. That's why jet engines work so well in space or high up in the atmosphere where the air resistance is minimal. Up high, around 35 to 40,000 feet, that's where a plane like this belongs. And getting there is half the fun.
Keep your altitude right there. Now you got it. Hold right there. Straighten out and go right down along the lake shore now. That's it. That's it. Hold it right straight ahead now.
How do you know when it's time to take off like?
Well, by your airspeed, DJ, depends on how much gas or how much kerosene we got in the airplane.
How fast are we going?
Oh, we're going about 220, 230 knots now, so just a little bit to the left, George. A little bit to the left. That's it. Hold it right there now. The tower will be talking to us pretty quick.
121, Julia with Chicago Center, ident. 12 Papa, turn left heading 270.
We're coming around. As soon as we get on this 270 heading, we'll hang on to that.
How do you talk on the radio? How do you...
Well, you get so many people talking up there, you got to be sure they're talking to you. That's the main thing. I mean, when they say 2GP, that's you. When you grow older, why, this will come just like driving your automobile or riding a bicycle. Times have changed, haven't they?
Oh, that's a nice serene feeling up there in the clouds, isn't it?
Wouldn't turkeys give their eye teeth to do that, huh?
Beautiful film.
Yes, indeed. And we should acknowledge the talents of our cameraman, Charlie Boyle, our editor, John Martin, and the producer, Dave Anderson, on that film. They did a fine job.
Yes, we want to thank the Priester family, all three generations of them, for, showing us the jet and getting us up there.
Fascinating family.
And probably the most famous air flight was Charles Lindbergh. You remember him? He flew, was the first person to fly across the Atlantic Ocean non-stop. And he flew in a little plane. We've asked our computer, we know that jets fly 600 up to 1,200 miles an hour now, supersonic. We want to know how fast Charles Lindbergh flew when he went from New York to Paris. We'll know when we come back.